This creepy farmhouse will have you swearing off abandoned buildings for life. Published by .do's Urban Exploration in April of 2013, the uploader admits to being skeptical to the paranormal, but this incident made him consider opening up to the possibility. Da writes that the house sits about a half a kilometer from a road in Bobcage, Ontario. The house is isolated with just a barn and an outcrop of other buildings. It appears from a distance to be tightly boarded up, but a back door was wide open. He writes, now it is very possible all the environmental conditions were perfect for this experience. However, Wingman Jan happened to be with me on this explore, and we are in agreement. There was something more to this. He says the video doesn't really do the reality justice. The sounds were much more magnified, which he describes as like freight trains. He writes, there was the sound of someone else walking. There was the sound of something heavy being dragged across the floor, and when exiting, it was like being followed out to the threshold of Inside and Out. Without further ado, let's take a look at the cryptic video. Even the approach to the house's exterior is a bit unnerving. The back door is under an overhanging, which our friends sneak beneath to catch a glimpse of a bunch of knickknacks and garbage littering the ground, including an old sewing machine. The back door is wide open, it's dark inside. They climb the steps to the kitchen area, also disheveled and covered with odds and ends. Once inside, they're stepping over the trash and other items on the floor, while scanning the rooms with a flashlight. They enter the living room. Something on a door across the room flies up. It appears to be blown by a breeze. The door then opens and slams shut, while our brave Da backs away. Instead of racing out of there, they get closer. The door keeps creaking open and slamming shut again. He finally enters the empty hallway. No one is there. He shines the flashlight upstairs, and just when you think he's going to explore that second level, he hurries the heck out of that house. Probably a smart idea. The house alone is unsettling. I can't imagine what being there in person must have felt like. Although Dad knows some might call him a coward for being afraid, he insists that you had to be there to know what it truly felt like. On the contrary, most people believe in the comments of this video that Da was brave to stay in this obviously haunted house as long as he did. I'm one of them. A YouTuber named Brave Burn is by himself checking out an old abandoned house rotting in the forest. Behind a creepy mold-covered door and down some old wooden steps, he finds a basement that looks far from safe. He pokes around downstairs for less than a minute before he finds a false sense of wall that leads to a lonesome hidden room. Soon he comes across a bunch of miscellaneous extension cords tangled together on a broken bench. Why anyone would need that much power to this tiny room is anyone's guess. It's almost like someone was being kept down here, possibly against their will. Brave Burn shines a flashlight down a narrow square hole and chances upon a tuft of golden straw-like material. I'm really hoping that this is insulation and not human hair. He quickly leaves without checking, so I guess we'll never find out. YouTube channel The Paranormal Road Trippers were sent on a mission by followers to check out one of Canada's most haunted roads.
With our driving experiment of up and down the road, we did not see any ghost dogs, nor did we see a ghost woman. We've sped the video up as we tried the experiment a total of 4 times.
Though the YouTubers did not encounter either the lost lady or the ghost dog, they completed a second experiment.
Is based on a story we've been told that if you leave the keys of the vehicle on the hood with your car turned off, that someone, specifically a girl, will come and take the keys off the hood of the truck. So we're gonna try that out.
And something unusual happened.
Oh my
What happened?
my door just opened.
So while we were
My door just opened.
Has the ghost woman had enough of their experiments? Well, I'm not sure if a door falling open is enough to prove this place is haunted. I'm getting some super creepy vibes from this place. I'd keep off Keeping Road if I were you. A janitor is closing up a restaurant in San Francisco called The Chapel, which is said to be haunted by the ghost of a small girl. As soon as he is done locking the door, something tries to leave and then runs away. If she was afraid of getting locked in, why didn't she bang on the door to be let out? Also, how come she didn't say anything when all of the lights turned off? On the contrary, if this was instead a real person trying to sneak in, then she probably wouldn't immediately try to open the door because it could set off an alarm. I guess she could just be making sure the janitor really is leaving. But since this restaurant is said to be haunted by the ghost of a small girl, I believe this could be her. A group of friends are heading down the road. When they think they see something in the distance, they silently observe a small figure standing motionless just barely within sight. Listen to this part and translate if you can. Finally, they decide to take their chances and barrel past. Look closely and you'll see that the highway phantom is cloaked in a single white sheet. The stranger remains motionless as the bike passes, not even putting their hands up to protect themselves. This bizarrely calm reaction is not ordinary. It makes me think that this was in fact a real highway ghost encounter. A YouTuber named Advil thinks he is alone until he hears voices off in the distance. He soon finds himself drawn to the stairs leading down into the basement for reasons he cannot explain. Something just feels out of place down there, but he isn't sure what. He calls out and gets an incredibly strange and eerie reply from the darkness below. Maybe if you are wearing headphones, you can tell me what is being said here. It almost sounds like they are whispering, "He's here."
Hello?
Moments later, Advil receives an undeniable confirmation that something is in the house with him. A dark figure somehow stands out against the pitch-black background as it crosses the doorway. It makes no attempt to go up the steps and reveal its true form. If this is real, then whatever is down there apparently wants to stay down there, and possibly one day take Advil with him. A YouTuber named Outdoors with Eric patrols his property at night because he suspects a mysterious creature in the woods. It's a scary exploration and a creepy location for sure, but Eric wants to get as much evidence on camera as he can, so he keeps his fear in check and marches forward. At 1 minute and 43 seconds, he hears some really scary noises coming from the woods. I don't know what kind of creature would be up late at night screaming in the darkness. What does it sound like to you? He walks for another minute until the scary noises give him pause again, much louder and closer this time.
Man, you guys hear that?
He feels watched and zooms in close with his night vision camera. You can barely make out the shape of a creature at first, so let me point it out for you.
That is bizarre.
When he plays with the setting, he gets a much better sighting on the creature, and soon discovers there are two of them across the stream.
They're coming closer. Yeah.
Two dots in the distance mark where he thinks they are. The screaming creatures of the night. No doubt they are real and so are the scary noises. But the real question is, what are they? Yasa is exploring not a tunnel, not a cave, but a haunted well. As in a dark hole straight down. He gets strapped into a pulley system and slowly lowered into the claustrophobic entrance. Right away he finds a snake at the bottom along with some other scary things that are way more concerning.
في شيء ترى هنا.
A toy blocks a small passage that he can't fit through, but a child can. Perhaps this is where the child who haunts this well crawled to after falling in. As he contemplates this possibility, something comes at him from behind.
المغارة هذه طويلة، هو كهف بس حرارة فيها غير طبيعي. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
I think this is probably just part of the well, but it also kind of looks like the side profile of a boy's grinning face, rotten teeth and all. Werewolves lurk in this forest, enter if you dare. YouTube team Fatos A Mysterios faced off with a wild half-man, half-dog in this scary video. First, they hear it.
Sei lá o que foi isso. Olha aí de novo, olha lá.
And soon, they spot it right before it gives chase.
Tô vendo.
Its growl soon sends him running. And despite fleeing the werewolf, it's still stalking them in the darkness.
Liga logo tua moto, liga. Vai, liga.
Will they escape?
Tô vendo.
They better hope so, or I think they'll soon be part of the wolf pack too. What would you do if you ran into a massive python and the paranormal all in one night? Published to YouTube in June of 2020 by Catch 'em All Fishing. That's exactly what happened to this explorer as he trapezed through the ramshackle underground city. In fact, Zach seems to have gone here specifically to look for snakes. The abandoned place is, in and of itself, creepy enough. He keeps shouting hello as he begins his journey, and his echo rings eerily throughout the enormous space. The dark, damp place seems like the perfect breeding ground for snakes. At one point, around 4 minutes and 15 seconds, Zach appears to capture the beam of a flashlight bouncing off a distant wall. He also hears voices. He may not be alone down here. He rushes over to see who else is there, but he says the voices have stopped. Then he hears the haunted voices again. It's more like a moaning, which is made even more terrifying by the echo. Then at 5 minutes and 53 seconds, Zach abruptly turns to a doorway, seeming to sense something there, and it appears that something is there. If you watch in slow-mo, an obscure figure is standing in the darkness of the opposite room. Although he got the heck out of there, Zach's night didn't end there. As he's driving home, he crosses paths with what he'd been looking for all along, a snake. Zach chases down an enormous python. He manages to grab it by the tail while the snake tries to bury its head in the sand. He grips the snake near its head and shows the audience its fangs as the python starts to wrap its thick body around his arm. I think this is exactly why you should never grab a python. Zach tries to release the snake into a bag and does manage to collect him and zip him inside without getting tagged. Between encountering what may have been the paranormal in the underground city and prying this python from his arm, one thing's for sure, this dude has nerves of steel. Have you heard of the Fresno Nightcrawler? The cryptoid in question was first caught on video surveillance in Fresno, California. It appears extraterrestrial, looking akin to a long pair of white pants with a tiny head. The figure in this video, published in April of 2020, certainly fits that description. The home surveillance footage from Billings, Montana purportedly captures this bizarre creature. Claudia writes, "The figure appears in the top right corner at the 20-second mark along with sounds that seem to match a pig or some kind of mammal." Right before the timestamp in question, a car appears to drive near the property off camera, casting light into the yard. That's when you see the figure at the top right corner, which looks like it has 2 legs. Seeming to be scared into stillness, it soon scurries out of sight, if not the Fresno Nightcrawler. What do you think this is? It looks like no mountain lion I've ever seen. This strange creature sighting while exploring an abandoned house deserves more attention and a closer analysis. An urban explorer is walking down the hallway when they see a small black object move in response to being caught on camera. It looks like an unknown creature at first. I can make out the reflective surface of what could be an eye, but it kind of looks like somebody is moving like a stuffed animal or something. Most people in the comments are saying that strange creatures are known to hide in abandoned buildings and believe this video is real. Only a very small amount of people seem to think this is flat out fake, so I was wondering what you think of this video. I think it could be real, but I'd be more willing to believe that this is a kid's doll moving on its own, which is just as creepy as a real creature sighting would be, if not creepier. Something is watching Sunny and CJ during this Randonautica horror exploration, published in May of 2021. Sunny Deeds writes, "On this adventure, CJ and I traveled back to the haunted Pocomoke Forest for another Randonautica adventure. We never expected this to happen." The "this" that Sunny is speaking of unfurls in the darkness. They tell Randonautica to bring it on and throw it at us, and are sent by the app to near a cemetery. As Sunny and CJ are outside their vehicle, an eagle-eyed commenter catches hidden people watching them. He writes that one is behind the bent branch over the ditch while the other appears to be recording them back with his or her own camera. Later, you can hear someone walking around if you listen closely. Shortly after, something is being smashed in the distance. That something turns out to be CJ's car window.
What the f was that? What was that?
When the pair return to their vehicle, they find the back window obliterated. It's absolutely shattered with no clear sign as to why. There is a sign, however, as to how. A brick sits amidst the broken glass, while the pair scream into the wilderness, asking who's out there. Sunny scans around. Briefly, you can see a light flash in the distance.
It's still cracking or something. Oh my God.
Do we have the answer to who as well? Something is definitely out there, but what he wants, only Randonautica knows. Alex Griffin runs a sports channel nowadays, but years ago he was briefly into conducting paranormal investigations at the most haunted places he could find. One such foray was the exploration of Borley Church, a place where organs are said to play by themselves and chanting can be heard from inside. There's also the ghost of Katie Borham, a housemaid who was said to have lost her life under mysterious circumstances that could have involved unknowingly ingesting toxic chemicals. Katie is the ghost they are hunting tonight, and so Alex Griffin and his friends logically start exploring the old haunted cemetery for paranormal evidence. They make the mistake of disrespecting her name along the way and start hearing some scary noises soon after.
Shout out, Katie. Katie. What the
The amateur investigators run away at first, but soon agree that they can't leave the mystery unsolved and need to find more paranormal evidence. They return to the cemetery and the bravest of them steps forward to taunt Katie into showing herself.
Say, what happened again?
So I didn't see anything, but he senses a ghost and I tend to believe him. After all, he was the one trying to impress his friends the hardest, so I don't think he'd run away like that and risk embarrassing himself unless he was really scared. The paranormal investigators step forward as one, and a single light glows in the woods even when their camera is not shining on it. It's not exactly the best paranormal evidence ever recorded, but the timing is definitely odd and makes you wonder what this light could be. And with their backs turned, the noise returns.
Anywhere else? Yeah. Just sleep tonight, mate.
It sounds like one of them would have thrown a rock or something and hits the top of the tin roof. But then again, this is exactly the kind of paranormal activity that this place is known for. It's years later and not one of them stepped forward to take credit for throwing a rock and scaring the group. So maybe this supposed paranormal activity is real after all. Is this the floating soul of a departed one? Published by Frankly2112 in October of 2008, a ghost hunting crew encountered a strange floating orb while wandering through a cemetery at night. The light glows brightly at the center of what appears to be a semi-transparent figure. Then again, the apparent figure could just be the extension of the light's rays. As the cameraman pans away and back again, the beam moves quickly out of frame and out of sight. YouTuber Price Paranormal writes, "It almost seems elemental or interdimensional." Others note that the light seems to materialize there and that it appears like someone holding fire in their hand. What do you think this is? Are the spirits alive in this graveyard? I'd be staying far away from this place. Is this a glitch in the Matrix? Published in July of 2010, the so-called extraterrestrial sighting was captured at 4:45 in the morning in Grass Valley, California. The YouTuber writes, "Albie and I went to investigate what I thought was an animal in the parking lot of the office. I heard a sound that I cannot describe. This is what they saw."
Dude, what the f is that? Dude, look through the night vision. Look on the screen.
The YouTuber explains that when he was pulling in, he saw something strange with the lights on. He assumed it was a maintenance person, but went to investigate after hearing the sound. You can see the light he's talking about at a distance. They follow a road to where he thinks he earlier saw the light. He sets the camera down and zooms in. An unusual flickering light flashes across the screen. It then flashes in the other direction, and this time an attached figure is clearly running. The flickering figure pauses for a moment, and they ask who it is.
Look on the screen. What is that? Hello? Hey, who is that?
He looks like he's glitching out. A moment later, he runs off again, and a strange screech is heard.
This tripped me out, dude.
Is this an extraterrestrial, or is this some other supernatural creature of our own world? Is this phantom nurse here to heal you or to hurt you? Published by Luan Mendez in May of 2020. Luan and his crew are exploring an abandoned hospital whose staff hasn't really left. Wandering the halls, they seem to turn down one hallway where they seem to spot something skulking in the darkness. The thing must have disappeared, so they move on, continuing in their search, and that's when they see her, Nurse Ratchet. They race away as fast as they can, and one of the crew falls unexpectedly to the ground. It almost looks like he was clotheslined by something invisible. The crew manages to make it out of the hospital alive, and that's no thanks to the creepy phantom nurse. Leaked video comes from the Kaluzhsky airport in Russia. One of the planes loses all stability and wobbles unsteadily, trying its best to navigate a safe path through heavy air currents. The pilot continues to wrestle with the controls, which are becoming more unstable by the minute, and I think I see a small fire under the wheel. If he misses the runway here, there's no circling around for a second chance. The wings dip unevenly as the plane disappears behind the tree line. No one can see what is happening, and they listen for the worst. A short while later, the plane miraculously emerges from behind the trees and touches down. The passengers get to live another day. You'll always remember your first encounter with a skinwalker, because it may just be your last. YouTuber Hype Mike published his encounter at Skinwalker Ranch. While they set up their cameras, you can already see something's not right. Look behind them. Later, as they're gathered around the barn, they hear a noise coming from above.
Yo. The fuck is that?
As they wander downstairs, they hear this.
What is that? That's Chris. Animated? His horses or something?
When they make it outside later, the flies warn them something evil is coming.
Dude, it's... Oh, I'm not going closer. Yeah, that's disgusting.
Something was
Stop!
like disemboweled or something here.
While checking their cameras later, they find one was messed with.
There's nothing. The wall, it's like a corner. I put it in the corner. And the tripod's like as far back as it can go. Nothing can...
Dude, what is that? Look at the camera, it's moving!
Bro, what is going
in the window? There was literally something in the window.
Was that a skinwalker? They're about to find out.
What? Is that the door?
Back door.
Was that here?
Hold on.
Wait, just wait. Let me just take a look, okay?
Well, I'm not 100% sure that it was a skinwalker. It does look to me like something is stalking them, and it may not be human. This incident shows that even streamers' homes can be haunted. Twitch streamer Justa Minx is chatting with her fellow influencers, Aviva Sophia and Nico Lull, when in the midst of discussion, the wheelchair in the corner behind her moves unexpectedly. Nico Lull is the first to notice, while Aviva Sophia confirms that she saw it move too. Justa Minx denies that it moved, but it was behind her, so she couldn't have seen it. A second clip reveals further proof that Justa Minx's home is haunted. As she's talking about TikTok with her followers, a distinct silhouette flashes into view on the right. This time she sees it out of the corner of her eye. She asks her viewers if they saw it too. Many in the comments think it's a black cat, but can a cat move a wheelchair? One strange happening is enough. Two is too much to explain away.